foreign powers cannot shape the narrative in any democracy. That is either willful ignorance of fact or complete lack of knowledge. Let us deal with US now first, right? US Homeland Security Act defines actions by foreign government or actors designed to sow discord, manipulate public discourse, discredit the electoral system, bias the development of policy, or disrupt the markets for purpose of undermining the interest of the United States are called foreign interference. US knows what is foreign interference, which is probably the strongest country in the world right now, and interference by sowing discord in public discourse. So let us first be clear on facts that it can happen. Now, is it happening?
Can we call it Ishkaran Bhai, and we call ourselves the mother of democracy?
You start.
We call ourselves the mother of democracy. We should have been leading.
Let him make his point. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, you got your turn to speak, sir. You got your turn to speak. Let others come in. Let's have a civilized debate, please. Let's have a civilized debate. We have a good 10 minutes left. Ishkaran.
Yes. Madhav, I had to say that because absolute incredulous arguments will be made that published discourse cannot be hampered or tampered from foreign forces in India. That is not the history of the world. That is not the history of any country which is democratic. Secondly, democracy, there are people who exploit democracy, especially communists, against the interests of the nation because they have multiple platforms, unlike in communist countries. So that is the second aspect, and that needs funding. As one example given by Rahul Ishwar, and multiple other examples of India's industrial growth being hampered by foreign funded NGOs. And lastly, we have the law of the land, and the law is very clear. There is no fundamental right to foreign funds unless you are in compliance with all the norms. And if you believe the government action is wrong, you can always go to courts and seek recourse. So the government action has to be done in all foreign funding which is against the interests of Bharat, period.
All right. I want Subansiri Raman to comment to that. Subansiri Raman, very important point being made there by Ishkaran. He says that everyone has to follow the law. One has to follow whatever tax laws are there. Similarly, FCRA laws are there for a reason. And therefore, it's not an automatic right or a fundamental right to get foreign funding. So, if there is some kind of violation on part or high-handedness on part of the government, there is the recourse to the law.
Madhav, I think that there is a complete lack of understanding of what the CPR actually does. First of all, the CPR actually has people from across the political spectrum. It is not a pure play a leftist organization which may appear to be intimidating the government or whatever.
Absolutely. There are diplomats, civil servants, Indian Army members, journalists, other leading researchers as well. I'll give it. I concede that. That's a very relevant point.
Political spectrum.
Yes.
So at the second point, very important. The kind of work that CPR does is not, like an NGO which is doing conversion. They are hired or they are engaged by government agencies to carry out studies in areas of sanitation, in areas of housing, in areas of healthcare, and in various other aspects. They have on board economists, they have on board social scientists. I mean, this is the mind boggles as to what logic is there in saying foreigners cannot control India in this situation. These are Indians. They are not foreigners.